Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras has said Greece's banks will not open on Monday, after the European Central Bank, ECB, said it would not increase additional emergency funding to the counry. In a television address on Sunday, Tsipras said that the government will also start imposing capital controls ahead of a looming deadline on Tuesday. The emergency measures were agreed at a cabinet meeting after a gathering of Greece's Systemic Stability Council, called after Eurogroup eurozone finance ministers refused to extend its bailout beyond Tuesday, sparking default fears over an IMF loan repayment due the same day. Reuters news agency is also reporting that the Greek stock exchange will also be kept closed on Monday. In a statement released earlier on Sunday, the ECB said, given the current circumstances, the Governing Council decided to maintain the ceiling to the provision of emergency liquidity assistance, ELA, to Greek banks at the level decided on Friday. However, the ECB said it was working with the Bank of Greece to maintain financial stability in the country and that the Governing Council stands ready to reconsider its decision not to increase the amount of emergency funding. The latest development came as the Greek parliament decided to back Tsipras' call for a referendum on the country's bailout deal with international creditors. The referendum planned for Sunday, July 5 was approved by at least 179 deputies out of a total of 300 politicians. The creditors have not sought our approval but have asked for us to abandon our dignity. We must refuse. Alexis Tsipras, Greek Prime Minister. Tsipras' leftist Syriza party and allied politicians voted in favor of the referendum that has angered its creditors who earlier rejected the debt-ridden country's request for a bailout extension. The country needs to make a $1.8 billion payment to the International Monetary Fund by Tuesday or risk defaulting on its obligations. In a speech prior to the vote, Tsipras said he was confident that the Greek people will say an emphatic no to the ultimatum by the country's creditors, the International Monetary Fund, ECB and European Commission. The day of truth is coming for the creditors, the time when they will see that Greece will not surrender, that Greece is not a game that has ended, he said in an address to Parliament laced with references to democracy and national dignity. Grexit almost inevitable. Tsipras also expressed confidence that in the aftermath of this proud no, the negotiating power of the country with the country's creditors will be strengthened. The move comes after 5 months of stalemated negotiations, with Tsipras accusing creditors of trying to strong-arm his country into taking harsh austerity measures he says would hammer an economy already on its knees after 5 months of creditor-demanded spending cuts and tax hikes. The creditors have not sought our approval but have asked for us to abandon our dignity. We must refuse, Tsipras said during a nearly 13-hour parliamentary session that culminated in a vote just before 3 a.m. on Sunday. But the leader of the opposition called the referendum a coup. Al Jazeera's John Saropoulos, reporting from Athens, said. Austria's finance minister said on Sunday that Greece's exit from the eurozone appears almost inevitable, after EU leaders refused to extend Athens's desperately needed bailout after the call for the referendum. Greece is solely responsible for a failure of the negotiations, said Hans-Jörg Schelling, in an interview with Austrian newspaper Die Presse. He added that a so-called Grexit would only be possible if Greece got the permission of other member countries. Greece would have to file a request to do so. The other EU countries would have to approve the request. Only then could Greece leave the eurozone, he said. The consequences for the euro countries are not nearly as bad as for Greece. It's clear that one country can under no circumstances blackmail the European Commission and the euro countries, Schelling said. Also on Sunday, European Council President Donald Tusk said that Greece must remain part of the euro single currency area, adding that he was in touch with government leaders to prevent Athens dropping out of the monetary union. Greece is and should remain euro area member, he tweeted. In contact with leaders to ensure integrity of euro area of 19 countries, he added after the other 18 finance ministers met without their Greek counterpart in Brussels. Tsipras has accused Greece's creditors of demanding unrealistic new pension cuts, sales tax increases, and labor market reforms.